Here we go. Got all the yawns out? You ready to go? All right. Boom! Shot out of the cannon. Here we go. No time to screw around with none of this and none of that. We got so much to cover this week. Big, exciting week. What week is it?
It's WrestleMania.
WrestleMania, baby! It's WrestleMania week, the biggest week of the whole year. I'm very excited personally. I'm driving to New York. I'm not going to WrestleMania, but I'm going to lots of other stuff. So I'm very excited about that. Additionally, you know, this is it's a big time. I mean, WrestleMania is always sort of what everything is built to the entire year. And as far as WWE goes, obviously, you know, NXT is always great. I know you're not a big fan of the Hall of Fame ceremony itself, but I always enjoy the Hall of Fame ceremony. So, of course, it's a big week. It's very exciting. Yeah. But someone tried to sort of steal the thunder of WrestleMania this week. A television show you and I watch every week. We love this show, John Oliver. Yeah. Last week, tonight, great show. A lot of controversy stirred up with this past week episode due to the fact they talked a little bit about Vince McMahon and the WWE. So for anybody that didn't see it, we can sort of recap real quick. They talked a little bit about, you know, wrestlers dying at a young age, their lack of health care coverage, and maybe their lack of, you know, maybe Vince being a little more of a jerk in real life and not just on television. Right. Was there anything... First off, before we get into the specific content of it, was there anything in this that was sort of a revelation to you? As someone that maybe, like I'm an old head fan, and you watch wrestling for a long time, but clearly not the length of time I have. Right. Was there any information in any of that that sort of was like a wow moment to you, or it's all stuff you sort of heard before?
I didn't realize that they didn't have health insurance. That was kind of surprising to me. And I'm kind of surprised that they were independent contractors. Because, I mean, like, if they're independent contractors, they can work other places. Like, that was just bizarre to me.
Right. So it's a very loosely based. I mean, it's been an ongoing thing for, you know, 30, 40 years. I mean, that's how wrestling is. And it is very weird. The whole thing is sort of weird, but that's just the reality of being a WWE superstar is you're an independent contractor, but you also can't work anywhere else. And you're not eligible for health insurance as a result of being an independent contractor. You know, I don't know. I think that it's, you know, if you get hurt on the job there, they take care of you. Right. I mean, it's not, and I think that's been an ongoing thing for a very long time. It's not as though, you know, you break your ankle during a match, and you need surgery on it. They're going to take care of you. Yeah. So it's not health care per se. I think a bigger concern that some people have is that, you know, the older wrestlers aren't really being taken care of that were there and sort of broke their back. And I'm on the fence about it. I don't know what the right answer is because wrestlers of the 80s that are in bad health now, it's not always just because of the wrestling. They were, you know, sort of drug and alcohol-fueled human beings. And, you know, the culture of wrestling then sort of, you know, required that because they worked so much and the rings were much stiffer back then. And so they had to self-medicate. Not that they had to, because not everybody did, but a lot of them needed to self-medicate just to continue to wrestle to earn a living. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what obligation Vince McMahon has to that from those guys in the 80s. And the other thing to remember is, you know, it was much more territorial in the 80s. So it wasn't like they spent their entire career working for Vince McMahon. Right. And these injuries are the way they are now is not necessarily a reflection of that. A guy that you wouldn't know, but he was an NWA world champion, Tommy Wildfire Rich. He worked his entire career sort of in the NWA and sort of, you know, outlying promotions. When I saw him last, maybe 7 or 8 years ago, he was in relatively bad health. Yeah. He was a wrestler his whole life. If somebody sees him, are they thinking, well, Vince should take care of that guy? Because they just lump wrestling all together. Right. But the truth is, you know, he never worked for WWE. Even another guy, let's say, I don't know, I haven't seen him in years. He might be in great health. Just as an example, Rick the Model Martel is a guy maybe you don't know. Well, but he had an okay run in the WWE. He was there for a while. He worked in a lot of other promotions. If he's in bad health now, how much of that is shouldered on Vince McMahon and the WWE? Because he worked a lot of places. Right. And I know WWE is the only, you know, sort of real game in town anymore. But that's, you know, I don't know. And the other thing to remember is, and maybe it's a piss poor excuse. I don't know. You can tell me if you think it's a piss poor excuse. But when you get into wrestling, you kind of know what it is. You know, like, I'm going to this and I'm not going to have health care through wrestling. You've got to get your own health care.
I think the big difference is, and like, so for KCW wise, like, if, say Sebastian, he has back problems, and are you responsible for that? Because, I mean, he did it on your promotion. I think the difference is that KCW didn't become international and didn't make billions of dollars. Vince McMahon has billions of dollars. Why doesn't he spread the wealth? Is kind of how I think a lot of kids my generation feel right now. Mm-hmm. Is that like, well, why does he deserve all the money? He didn't put his body on the line. These wrestlers put their body on the line.
But also I would say business owners, not just WWE, but business owners themselves are taking a huge risk all the time. So should there be no reward for the financial risk that Vince McMahon took to get this company off the ground? I mean, he could have wound up in the poorhouse and, you know, destitute and
but but he didn't. And like taking $1 million away from him, I know $1 million to us is like a big deal, but I mean $1 million to him, what's the...
But who all deserves and who all doesn't?
Yeah.
I mean, if you've given everybody $1 million that worked for him before, well, this guy only worked there for 3 months, but this guy worked for a year.
Right.
Does the one guy deserve as much as the other guy?
Right.
Does Hogan, who worked there for 10 years, deserve the same amount as, you know, the Spellbinder that worked there one time for a dark match? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where do they draw the line? I don't know. I understand, but I don't know. I think that once you know you're getting into, no one is forcing these guys. No one forced those guys to become pro wrestlers.
Right.
They could have went and got an education and became an accountant. You know, when you get into wrestling, you know what it is, and maybe not everything is fair, but that's the reality of life in general. Life in general is not fair.
Yeah.
And I think today's WWE, the way they take care of talent and are so much slower to release talent, they hold on to people forever. People that aren't on television for forever don't lose their jobs, and that's, in its own way, that's a specific kind of charity of not just letting these guys and girls go.
Yeah.
So obviously I think it's much better than it was, and it'll probably be much better 10 years from now. I mean, the whole culture of WWE is better, I think, up there. And the culture of, our country is better than what it was 15 years ago. So its treatment towards everyone is it's not perfect.
Yeah.
But it's getting better. It's getting better all the time. And I think, so I personally, getting back to the John Oliver part of it, I liked the entire thing.
Yeah,
I thought it was fun. I didn't think it was a negative reflection on wrestling. I know people are going to disagree with that. A lot of people are upset and up in arms over it. I don't think it's but I also have been somebody who, maybe I'm not critical of like WWE as a business model, but if something's bad on an independent show, I've never had a problem with pointing that out.
Yeah.
And if something's bad on WWE television, I don't have a problem, in my opinion, pointing that out. And I think that's what he did. He just pointed out some things that he felt like were lacking in the company, and did it in a very constructive yet fun way.
Yeah.
That's what you get when you watch John Oliver. And it's one of our favorite shows. At least it's one of my favorite shows to watch. And I thought it did good. If you have not seen it yet, I strongly suggest going out and seeing it. It may not be on YouTube anymore. I think WWE got that taken down, but you can find it out there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's a great show, and this particular episode was brilliantly put together.
It's always surprising to find out who watches wrestling. It's amazing to me.
Yeah, John Oliver, sort of an educated guy. His buddy Jon Stewart's a big WWE guy.
Yeah.
I think that, it used to be, if you were a wrestling fan, you were labeled as like sort of a moron and But I think the truth of the matter is, like, the smartest people enjoy wrestling now because they understand what it is. Like, wrestling isn't trying to insult the fans anymore by saying, hey, we're real.
Yeah.
We're a show, and that's what we are. And we're not trying to insult your intelligence by saying it's anything. Now, there are specific moments in wrestling where you have to suspend disbelief, and that's not any different than going and watching, Avengers Endgames in a few weeks.
Yeah.
So wrestling's not any different than that. And I think that, if it gets right down to it, if you don't take wrestling too serious, which sometimes I do, if you don't take it too serious, it is a fun television show to watch. and I think more people should watch it because it's just fun.
Yeah.
Wrestling can be very, very fun. And then other times it's not as fun. Like what we saw on Monday night with Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch. I personally hated that whole segment.
Yeah.
At the end with the cops and everything. What did you think, though? Did you like it?
I don't know. I thought it was kind of silly. Yeah, I don't know. It was kind of silly. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I just like it was too much. Like they went too far on it.
Did whenever Stone Cold Steve Austin, whenever he got arrested, all those times, or in the past when other wrestlers have been arrested, were they beating up like the cops too?
There was times where they would hit a cop, but it wasn't like just pure insanity. There's felt some level of realism to it.
Okay.
First off, more often than not, the cops who were arresting Stone Cold actually looked like cops.
Yeah.
These guys did not look like cops.
So tiny.
They were young and tiny and just clearly had never even watched a cop show. So they weren't doing a great job. And then on top of it, hit a cop once. See how it goes.
Yeah.
They're not just going to be like, hey, come on.
Yeah.
What? Hey, come on, calm down.
Yeah.
And that's sort of what we got from these cops. I mean, those girls were beating him up pretty good, and they were just like, come on, hey. Yeah. So maybe that's my biggest problem with it. Maybe the cops were poorly acted, poorly reacted to the situation, and it's just that, just everything that those three women did in relation to what reality would be like is just, it's so hokey to me and so goofy. And to me, it took away from the match on Sunday. Like that's what I'm thinking. That's my last thought of them going into Mania, is how goofy they looked on Monday night. So I hated it.
I think it was supposed to provide some steam. Like, these girls really hate each other, but like
there had to be a better way to tell that story.
Yeah.
Than fighting cops.
Yeah.
In a very weird way, they were fighting cops.
I mean, maybe to make them more BA. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. It didn't work for me, I'll tell you that much. And I'm, I've seen a lot of wrestling, but I thought that was some of the worst.
Yeah.
That was one of the worst segments I've seen in months. So I didn't care for it. Another thing I'm not sure that I'm going to care for is this Sunday, and we get there, and there's no John Cena, and there's no Undertaker. We both wore our Undertaker shirts today. I don't know why you wore yours. I wore mine in protest that there's no Undertaker. If they're not going to put him on the show, why didn't he go into the Hall of Fame this year?
Maybe Undertaker isn't done. Maybe something just happened where he couldn't be at Mania.
I mean, come on. This is the one day out of the year where he shows up. He should have been there.
Maybe something happened in Saudi Arabia where he got hurt and he had to go in for some type of hip or knee surgery. Old people have that all the time.
Oh, old people have hip or knee surgery. Now, I haven't read anything or heard anything like that. My gut tells me that they're just not using him, or he just has had enough. But if that's the case, then why not put him in the Hall of Fame? The only other thing I think could be a redeeming factor, and I think maybe both him and John Cena are going to show up unannounced.
Okay.
Which seems a little weird to me. Like, John Cena is a huch star. Why wouldn't you advertise them? Unless they're already sold out and they don't care if they sell any more tickets or whatever.
I think that they probably think, we're going to sell out. Like, and they probably have sold out.
They probably have, yeah.
I mean, it's Mania. When do they, like...
Yeah, when does Mania not sell out? I don't know. Maybe just as like a surprise, here's somebody.
Yeah.
Maybe come back and win the Andre the Giant Battle Royal.
Maybe.
I don't know. I mean, I hope that he still shows up. I don't want to see him wrestle.
Yeah.
But I just like to see him show up.
Yeah, Undertaker.
And John Cena, if he had a match, I'd be good with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still think John Cena is capable of having good matches. I hope he's done something different with his hair since the last time you've seen him. But is there anybody else you're sort of looking forward to seeing, as far as maybe this person will show up that's sort of a legend, or that seeing legends on the show doesn't really hold much for you?
I mean, it kind of holds a little bit something for me, but I don't think it, like, the older legends, like, I just don't remember them as well. But, like, people in the early 2000s and beyond, like, I remember them.
Would you be excited if The Rock popped up?
Yeah.
What about Stone Cold Steve Austin?
Yeah.
Mick Foley?
Yeah.
Okay. What about Hardcore Holly?
I know the name.
You wouldn't be that excited to see Hardcore Holly. All right.
He's got blonde hair.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yep. He's with Molly Holly and somebody else.
Crash Holly.
Crash Holly.
You got it. Yep, Crash Holly. He has since passed away.
Oh.
So you won't see Crash Holly at WrestleMania. Let's talk about some predictions we have going into WrestleMania. We're going to save the Kofi and Daniel Bryan for dead last.
Okay.
First one we're going to start with Seth Rollins, Brock Lesnar. Who do you got?
I hope Seth Rollins.
Who do you got there? You
Seth Rollins. I'm going all in.
All in? I think it's going to be Brock Lesnar.
I hope not.
I mean, I'm good with Seth winning. I like the idea. But there's been so many times where I thought, this got to be it.
Yeah.
Brock is losing this match. He's losing the title. And then it hasn't happened.
Right.
So, and this feels like it's just going to be a straight ahead match, just the two of them with nothing sort of weird going on. So that's why I think when that's happened every time, it's always been Brock. So that's why I'm going to say Brock Lesnar is going to win this match. How about jumping way ahead here? But this is the main event of WrestleMania. The three women in that match, Becky, Charlotte, Ronda Rousey, closing the show. Who wins?
Becky.
You think Becky wins?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think Becky's going to pin Charlotte.
I think this match has lost a ton of steam.
Mm-hmm.
I think Becky has lost a ton of steam. And not necessarily by any fault of her own. You've heard me complain on this video time and time again of how poorly somebody's been booked.
Yeah.
Her and Kofi Kingston have been so poorly booked that I think it may be a little bit of a flat ending no matter who wins that match. The only way I could see it sort of getting a sort of loud reaction is Ronda winning.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a loud boo to end WrestleMania,
right, yeah.
which I don't know that they're comfortable with.
Right.
But I don't know that Becky winning is going to be any type of a surprise that really gets people up.
Yeah.
Whereas, one of the other two women winning would infuriate the crowd.
Yeah.
And leave them on a note where they're, at least energized.
Right.
You have 2 more days of television immediately after. I think that it would not be a terrible idea to have Becky versus Ronda close out Monday Night Raw and then Becky beating Ronda one-on-one the next night. That's how I would see it. I know a lot of people would leave Mania mad, but they'd be happy the next night.
Right.
What else do we have going on here? We got the Demon coming back against Bobby Lashley. Any guess on this one?
I think Finn Balor will win.
I think it has to be. If he's going to be the Demon, I don't think he loses as the Demon. So I think that match is fine. A lot of matches that maybe I don't care as much about. Maybe you do. Rey Mysterio against Samoa Joe. Any thoughts on that? Do you care? First off, do you care about that match? A little bit?
Not really.
Okay, I don't either. You think Rey Mysterio wins that match?
It's weird because I thought they were going to do something with Rey Mysterio's son. They had him do 2 promos back-to-back Tuesday nights. And then...
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, I don't know. It does seem right that Rey Mysterio would win. It feels like the right situation. So I'm probably going to go with you on that one. It's going to be Rey Mysterio. How about the women's tag title match? We have 4 teams on that one.
I think Sasha Banks and Bayley are going to
I think so too. Yeah, I think so too. I agree. They have another 4-way match on the tag team titles.
For the SmackDown tag team.
Right, the SmackDown. Any thoughts on that one?
I guess Usos.
Yeah, I would say too. Although that Aleister Black and Ricochet are pretty hot right now. They're putting them on both shows, all 3 shows really. So, but I don't know. I think Usos too. But I think that one has some potential to really sort of steal the show.
Yeah.
I mean, if if Rusev and Nakamura really feel up to it and, aren't too discouraged with the way they've been used on television and really feel like bringing their A game, I think it can be fantastic. The Usos are always fantastic.
Yeah.
Ricochet is pretty special. Aleister Black is fine.
Yeah.
Who's the other team?
The Bar.
Oh, the Bar can be, those guys can really go sometimes. So I think there's some potential there. I think it's weird that the New Day as a tag team are not on the show. Right? Does that feel weird?
No, not really, because they're in, a match, even though they're not in a match.
What about Shane versus The Miz? Do you have any thoughts on that one? Is that match...
I don't really care about that match. I would assume The Miz is going to win.
I would assume so, too. It feels right, I guess. That's probably... I know I said something different last night, but right now I feel like The Miz is the right answer there to win.
Yeah.
I don't like The Miz as the babyface. I think
I don't either.
Fantastic as a heel, so I'm not sure what the...
I heard a little bit of crowd booing last night on SmackDown for The Miz.
Yeah. Well, I can see why. He just works better as a heel. He's got that face that you want to punch, and that's perfect heel fodder when you see it. Anybody else before we get to Kofi and Daniel Bryan? Any other big...
Styles and...
AJ Styles and Randy Orton. I can tell you this much. If that match was for the heavyweight title, I think it should close the show. Because I think it would be the best. It'll be the best match if given the adequate time.
Yeah. On
the entire show. I love Randy Orton. There's a few guys that are that's a wrestler to me.
Yeah.
And AJ Styles is special, man. So if they're giving adequate time to tell a good story, that match will be absolutely fantastic. That promo that kicked off SmackDown last night, oh man, that was good.
Yeah.
That's wrestling to me. When you're sort of blurring the lines between reality and fiction, that's wrestling to me. So that was great. I was not at all excited for that match. Then last night they fixed it. So kudos to them. Like I said,
I wish that they would have done longer of that.
Kudos to them, or kudos to the writing team, whoever came up with that, because that made me interested in that particular match.
Yeah.
Okay. So
what about the Andre the Giant match and the women's match?
I would say Asuka's going to win the women's battle royal.
Yeah.
Do you think so too?
I guess maybe Lacey Evans.
Yeah,
was
maybe.
The name we threw around.
Yeah, I knew we threw that around last night. I don't know. My gut tells me Asuka. They want to. A lot of fans of hers were upset whenever they sort of.
Yeah, is that really going to fix it though?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But they're just going to try to throw.
Yeah.
They're going to try to throw some duct tape on a dam that's broken. So. And then the men's battle royal, surely to God, it's got to be Braun Strowman. He's the biggest star in that match.
You don't think that Michael Che or Colin Jost will win?
No, I don't.
No.
It would be funny. I wouldn't hate it.
Yeah.
It would be very funny if Colin Jost won.
And then they put it on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah. I wonder if Braun will be on Saturday Night Live Saturday night.
Oh, I don't know.
I'll have to check it out and find out. But yeah. My gut tells me Braun Strowman. He feels like the right answer in that situation. And then last match. I know there's other matches we missed. There's probably a 205 Live match in there that we didn't talk about. There's probably other matches. But let's get to the match that maybe I care the most about. We didn't talk about Roman Reigns. And
Drew McIntyre.
Do you care about that match?
Not really.
Yeah. If that's another match, if it had been built properly, maybe for the heavyweight title, could have main evented the show.
I think that they tried to build it properly. They had matches with him beating up Dean Ambrose and him beating up Seth Rollins.
Yeah, and he beat up Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
It's got to be Roman Reigns wins that match, right?
Yeah.
I can't imagine another scenario.
No.
I'm curious to see, because WrestleMania has the meanest fans, and Monday night.
Yeah.
Is this the time now where they finally turn and say, it's fine now. It's been long enough. We hate him again.
I hope not.
I hope not too, but I think if it's going to happen, it's going to happen this coming weekend.
Yeah.
Okay, main event. For us, anyway. For me, Daniel Bryan, who was my absolute favorite on television, against the current darling of the WWE Universe, Kofi Kingston, who I really like too, and I've liked for a long time before he ever got stuck in this spot.
Yeah.
Who do you predict?
I think Kofi's going to win.
Okay. I think that Daniel's going to win. I think Daniel Bryan is going to win. And I think that I don't think this is the end of the Kofi situation.
Yeah.
I think that there's going to be a point where Kofi wins the heavyweight title.
I mean, but you don't get that. You don't get that long matches, like that long run of stuff anymore. Like, it's storylines quick right now. So I just can't.
I know. We really was hoping for a Miz and Daniel Bryan, and yeah, guess what? Their writing team ran out of stuff to do.
Yeah. So I mean,
turned them both.
I just don't see that the storyline continuing.
You don't think you can make it to August?
No. So that's why I think Kofi's going to win.
I hope you're right. I think it's the right thing to do. I like Daniel Bryan on top. I like him as the heavyweight champion. I like the new belt. I'd be sad to see that thing go. I like his whole platform as a heel. But I don't know. I just have a feeling. And maybe it won't be August. Maybe it'll be next month in May. Maybe he wins the title there. But I just have a feeling Daniel Bryan is going to retain the title on this given night. And it may be something where he wins by DQ or count out. He may not pin Kofi, but I don't know. I just feel like this is a thing where, there's got to be an element of truth as to fact why Kofi was never heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
They really don't want him to be heavyweight champion, because there's been plenty of times over the years he's been pretty hot as a babyface, and they didn't really run hard with him. Daniel Bryan was heavyweight champion pretty quick into his career. They said it on SmackDown. 2 years in, he was a heavyweight champion. 11 years in, and Kofi's been consistently very good. He always has these memorable Royal Rumble spots, and this New Day run has been incredible.
Yeah.
It's really worked out well for them. I just can't see. There's got to be a reason why they've never put the title on him, and maybe Vince just doesn't think he's that guy.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's going to carry into WrestleMania as a real life situation. Vince can't be convinced that this is the right guy to be the guy.
Right.
Who knows? I hope you're right and I'm wrong on this one.
Yeah.
But if I had to put money down on it, I'm putting money down on Daniel Bryan. One of those few times I'd be happy to lose money.
Yeah.
Okay. So there you go, man. We covered a lot. How long was this video? 75 minutes. 27, actually. Time for us to wrap it up. We talked too much.
Yeah.
All right, guys. That's it. I'm not even going to ask for a too sweet this week because we went way too long. So thank you guys for watching. We will see you next week. One time? No, I'm just kidding. I'm not asking. One time?